Earlier this fall, a new monument was inaugurated in downtown Ottawa to commemorate those who passed away during the Holocaust.
Over 6 million Jewish people were persecuted and killed by the Nazis in Europe. Other groups were also targeted, including individuals with mental and physical disabilities.
What an atrocious time in human history.
After World War II, approximately 40,000 survivors of the Holocaust immigrated to Canada. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau called the National Holocaust Monument a place to learn, ask tough questions, to grieve, and to remember.
And still so many lessons to be learned on a global level.
Agreed. And Dave Brown and our AMI Ottawa Bureau team visited the monument to learn more, starting with a photo featured on a plaque.
These are the Hungarian Jews. Many of my relatives were involved here. We eventually perished. And this is in Auschwitz-Birkenau, and it's the Tet Ghetto, and it's a horrible, horrible situation.
Gabby Gottlieb made the trip from Toronto to visit this newly opened National Holocaust Monument.
Next to me is my son, Jordan, and the reason we visited the monument was that I wanted to let Jordan, my son, the next generation, and hopefully his son will come with him in due time, about the Holocaust that I experienced as I was born in Budapest, Hungary in 1943. Much of this is very familiar to me, and it's very meaningful to me as a survivor, or one of the last survivors of this terrible time in our history.
Jordan shares how it feels to visit this somber space with his father.
It's saddening. I find that learning about my past, not only from the concrete blocks that are surrounding us now, but learning about my family, 13 brothers, and understanding that there would have been many cousins of cousins, aunts, uncles, who were just murdered because they were Jewish.
I just wanted to let my younger son know the past is part of the future.
Just steps away from the Canadian War Museum, this expansive concrete monument entitled Landscape of Loss, Memory and Survival now sits on a busy high-traffic street corner. It's made up of several triangle wedges that from above take on the shape of a stylized star, a reference to the symbols used by the Nazis to persecute the Jewish people. Francine Lefebvre, a senior manager with the Department of Canadian Heritage, shares the importance of this monument as the first of its kind in Canada.
The monument commemorates the 6 million Jewish people who perished during the Second World War, as well as other target groups, including, Jehovah's Witnesses, Roma Sinti, the disabled, and it's meant to stand as a tribute to their courage and their resilience.
Francine explains the philosophy behind the visitor experience.
When the visitor enters the monument from the main entrance, they will descend into the larger space. It's meant to convey a sense of fear, loss, and exclusion. We have installed 21 interpretive panels that explain the rise of the Nazi Party, the start of the Second World War. The interpretive panels also discuss Canada's closed borders during the Second World War.
The large central commemorative space can accommodate 1,000 guests. The interior walls contain hand-painted grayscale murals.
They depict many different scenes, one of which, for example, is the barbed wire of Auschwitz-Birkenau.
A small closed room houses the flame of remembrance and is available for quiet contemplation and prayer.
As the visitor completes his or her experience within the monument, they can go through the Stairs of Hope to an area where you can see Parliament Hill. It is meant to convey hope and future and also democracy.
A message that is shared by Gabby for his son.
He will be the embodiment of the Jewish saying, never again. So we have to be vigilant against any form of discrimination. And Canada, and in particularly Ottawa, with this monument, gives us the way to express that feeling to the world.
It It is so important to have spaces like this for people like Gabby and his son Jordan to share their history, and for the general public as well.
That's right, and this monument is so important so that we always remember the lessons learned in our history. And you know, this space was chosen in particular because of its heavy traffic flow. It's very busy and noisy, but then when you go inside the monument, it's very quiet and contemplative.
The Department of Canadian Heritage used the principles of universal accessibility in the design of the monument. The ground is gently sloped and contains tactile warning strips at inclines. There's also an elevator to bring visitors up to the viewing area.
A truly accessible space. That's something everyone should experience.